Hey folks, I'm Chris and I'm your Commander Mechanic. We're getting reveals of all of the new Commander pre-constructed decks from Streets of New Capenna this week, which means it's upgrade time. If you want to pick up any of these precons, or even just order the singles of the exclusive cards within them, be sure to check out my affiliate, Hairy Tarantula. Use my promo code CMDR5 for 5% off your first order, and CMDR Mechanic to help support the channel. Today we're looking at the new Cabaretti Cacophony Precon. This white, green, and red deck is a go-wide token deck that looks to flood the board with 1/1s, 4/4s, and more. With the Cabaretti mechanic of Alliance caring about creatures entering the battlefield under your control each turn, it's sure to get you to do some wild things. I think I'm starting to like it. Speaking of, if you like the channel, please be sure to subscribe. Every new subscriber and viewer helps, so be sure to hit that button for more precon upgrades, deck techs, and wild brews each week. Our box legend from Cabaretti Cacophony is Kitt Kanto Mayhem Diva. She is a 4-mana cat bard druid. This 3/3 reads, when Kitt Kanto enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. At the beginning of combat on each player's turn, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control. When you do, target creature that player controls gets +2/+2, gains trample, and is goaded until end of turn. Kitt here is really good. I mentioned how much I love goad as a mechanic in Commander, and Kitt here gives you a way to use small creatures that may not be able to attack profitably, using them to goad opponents and punch each other, while clearing the way for your small creatures to later get in for damage. That is a nice all-in-one package. But Kitt is not alone. She brought a friend to the party. The other legend in the precon is Phabine, Boss's Confidant. Phabine is a 6-mana cat advisor. She's a 3/6 that reads, creature tokens you control have haste. And she features the return of the parlay mechanic from conspiracy sets. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each land revealed, you make a 1/1 citizen token. Then, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn for each non-land card revealed this way. Then, each player draws a card. Having each player draw a card is a little group huggy, but making tokens, then making them beefy, and being able to swing with them right away, well, that's all solid payoff. I like both of these commanders, and honestly, with the way the 99 looks, they're basically interchangeable with either one at the helm. We're wanting to make a volume of tokens in both cases, so let's look at the best additions to the deck to help you do that. But first, let's look at some of the new amazing unique cards within the precons. Some new cards to the format that are no doubt going to make an impact and be used in decks outside of upgrades to Cabaretti Cacophony. Starting with Master of Ceremonies, as all good parties should. This 4-mana mono-white Rhino Druid is a 3/4 with a lot of text. At the beginning of your upkeep, meaning you don't get any immediate value out of him, each opponent chooses money, friends, or secrets. Each player that chose money makes a treasure token, so do you. Each player that chose friends makes a citizen token, so do you. Each player that chose secrets draws a card, so do you. So while you're giving opponents something each time, you're getting 3 times the value from this card. This is both ramp, card draw, and unique to white. I know a lot of people won't like giving opponents these advantages, but when you get them more, you get to break that symmetry. I really like it. The next is another hard choice. It's Seize the Spotlight. This red sorcery has each opponent choose Fame or Fortune. For each player that chose Fame, untap and gain control of a creature they control until end of turn. It gains haste. And for each opponent that chose Fortune, you get to create a treasure token and draw a card. This one is a killer. Threatened, the card that untaps and gains control of a single creature, is a 3-mana sorcery. This could be 3 times that effect, nabbing the best creature each opponent controls until end of turn. That can be real nasty, and even better if you can find a way to sacrifice the creatures before they go back to their owners at the end of turn. But Fortune? Anyone who chooses Fortune here is a fool, giving you more mana and an extra card. The scenario where this is 3 mana to make 3 treasures and draw 3 cards is insane for 3 mana. Getting a mix of the options here is amazing as well. This is a poor outcome for opponents no matter how they choose, which means it's a fantastic card. And then we have Scepter of Celebrations, a green equipment that is very reminiscent of Wand of Orcus from Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. I want to look at these two side by side because they seem similar but wildly different. While Scepter of Celebration pumps the equipped creature, it's not necessarily as threatening as giving all zombies you control Death Touch like on the Wand, and creating 1/1s instead of 2/2s is a distinct downgrade for the exact same cost and equip cost. Yes, they're in different colors, but it seems like the Scepter might not be as good as Wand of Orcus is, despite being designed similarly. However, if you want to go wide with 1/1s, this thing can make a lot of them. It's still decent, but I would have liked to have seen it give a bonus to citizen tokens as well. Green is a color that leans further into token generation, and it's weird that black gets a better token generator with the exact same costs. Now let's take a look at Prosperous Partnership, a red and white enchantment that makes 2 1/1 citizens when it enters the battlefield. Then you can tap 3 untapped creatures you control to make a treasure. This is a good card. In a Naya deck like this one, we could be pairing it with Quest for Renewal or a Seedborn Muse and turn all of our creatures into token generators on everyone's turns. Even without green, this is an amazing way to turn creatures you left back to block into mana generators. And you can tap creatures that are summoning sick for this effect as well. So tapping out to create a whack of tokens means you can still recover mana to hold up for tricks too. I like this a lot. Expect to see it in anything going wide in red and white, which is a lot of decks in those colors. Lastly, we have Cabaretti Confluence, another 6 mana sorcery that allows us to choose 3 options, choosing 3 and picking the same option more than once. We get to choose from: create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, it gains haste, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step, exile target artifact or enchantment, or creatures target player controls get +1/+1 and first strike until end of turn. I think this may be the best of the confluences revealed so far, solely for the fact that you can pay 6 mana to make 3 copies of a Dockside Extortionist. These effects are all reasonably costed, each being about 2 mana each, so choosing 3 gets you 6 mana value worth of spells. Unlike some of the other confluences that are 1 mana abilities on a single card for 4 to 6 mana, this one gets you some big effects. Bonuses of being exile-based removal or just being a good overrun style effect is excellent as well. I like this one a lot. With these new cards out of the way, let's take a look at the lists. You can find the existing list and my updated list linked in the description below by following the links to my sponsor, Moxfield. Moxfield is the best deck building platform hands down, and as someone who is brewing upgrades to all 5 of the new Capenna Precons, they make it easier than ever. Bulk edit, changing print versions, and sorting by price makes it so that I can stay within budget and give you these guides as soon as possible. Be sure to check out my Moxfield profile linked in the description below and follow me there. Out of the box, Cabaretti Cacophony is basically everything you need to make a Naya tokens deck. If I were constructing a deck about tokens in these colors, I would include cards like Aura Mutation, Artifact Mutation, and March of the Multitudes, which are all in this precon straight out of the box. Instant speed token generators are exactly what works for these colors, and having removal stapled to them makes for great value. The mutations can be 2 mana to destroy a pesky artifact or enchantment, and make 5+ tokens. And Call the Coppercoats has become a staple of the upgrades for decks I've been doing on the channel. Being able to instantly match your opponent's army and potentially make as many tokens as creatures all of your opponents control, these are really the reason you run these colors. Buffing these tokens is a big part of going wide with them, and including Intangible Virtue in the precon might just make this uncommon enchantment the best card in the deck. Honestly, it's seen play in Modern before, so you can't go wrong with it. Not to mention includes that care about going wide with creatures and instantly make your board of tokens better. Felidar Retreat, Champion of Lamholt, and Thunderfoot Baloth are, again, cards I'd put in the deck if I were building it from scratch. Good on the creators of this Precon for getting it so right. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I think the deck has some clear misses too. Duelist Heritage is narrow and really only cares about the interaction with Phabine and further buffing goated creatures each turn. Otherwise, it doesn't benefit you to give one of your little attackers double strike. I also feel the deck's mana strategy is the poorest out of the Precons we've seen so far. Green doesn't need its mana generation on Wood Elves, Sakura Tribe Elder, or Leafkin Druid. I understand why they went with these to synergize with the 2 landfall cards in the deck, but let's look at what else is in the list. Cultivate is really the only ramp spell in the deck, which is a big miss. In a deck looking to go wide like this, I would have loved to see Harvest Season included. Go wide and tapped tokens, that's 100% what this deck is, down to its bones. And for mana rocks, we only have Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and Felwar Stone, and 38 lands included. That's just not right. We can definitely consolidate this a bit further while also including a few more token generators and ways to buff them. Cutting the 2 and 3 mana dorks to add in 3 visits and Nature's Lore would be a good first step. And if we're running Cultivate, we can run Kodama's Reach too. Our commanders cost 4 and 6 respectively, so ramp here on 3 is within curve. We'll likely want a few more basics than the 16 currently in the deck too, especially if there's a chance we can fetch all of them with a Harvest Season. Let's remove some of the tapped lands like the Thriving Lands, and even remove Ash Barrens. Unlike in other Precons, here we're tutoring lands with spells, not using another one of our lands. And let's get some mana rocks in the deck too. Just another 2, the red-white producers of Boros Signet and Talisman of Conviction. We're going to be green forward, so we won't have trouble with forests, but making red and white on rocks will be welcomed. Then, let's add in my absolute favorite in any go-wide deck, Cathar's Crusade. If we're making a volume of tokens, this makes our board stupid big. With Phabine in particular, this could be putting up to 4 counters on your entire board without any other spells, each turn. My favorite mono-white legend, Adeline Resplendent Cathar, also earns a spot in the deck, if only because she creates 3 1/1s every turn, and that's free real estate. From a card draw standpoint, the deck has a few options within, but I would highly recommend Welcoming Vampire be added. This draws you a card once per turn when you have a small creature enter the battlefield. At minimum, you're drawing 1 additional card, with the potential to draw again on opponents' turns if you can make more tokens. Lastly, there are 2 small packages I'd add in, 1 for life gain and 1 for damage. For life gain, the Soul Sisters are ideal, and we get 3 here, Essence Warden, Soul Warden, and Soul's Attendant. These can put your life total far out of reach just by making a handful of tokens. A buffer of life is handy if you're going to be aggressive with your throwaway army. And for damage, I'd recommend the new Wily Roastmaster and Impact Tremors, potentially throwing in Cavalcade of Calamity too. These make sure your creatures entering the battlefield immediately do damage to opponents, and when they attack, they do even more. You could get spicy and throw in a Hell Rider too for some wicked alpha strikes. That's giving them the pointy end of the stick, that's for sure. So let me know what you think of this deck, both out of the box and with a few upgrades made to it. What would you include that I didn't mention? Check out the full upgraded list linked in the description below, and as always folks, good luck and have fun.